So welcome. I want to talk about fourth chances. You know, we live in a world of speed and haste, but I want to talk about fourth chances, not second chances, not third chances. Because a long time ago, I had a health issue. And the health issue turned into a health scare, and then it turned into, well, Mr. Ballard, you've got cancer and it's spread, and we're not sure you've got weeks or days left. And then I had to fire my therapist at the hospital because he came in one day and said, you know, you're just too happy. I'm an expert. I've got a degree in psychology and a degree in theology, and you're too happy, you're going to die, so we've got to get serious. And I was like, well, I got the diagnosis, and I left here and went to the doctor, went to the lawyer's office and got a fresh, brand new, made in Canada will. Registered. Now, he did get it couriered to my house, so the will was home before I got home, so I made him wait 30 days and sweat it out. And then I went to the real estate office just to check in with the agent, because I just had the house by 90 days with my then new bride, and made sure that he'd be happy with reselling it, just in case I wasn't around. Sort of put the fear of God in him, that if he didn't do a good job, I'd haunt him forever. And then I got serious about fighting for my life, and so I went back in, and I was really blessed. I had a Dr. George P. Connick on my medical team who said things like, so Michael, if you think it's all about me and these hands operating on you, you're confused. It's nothing to do with these hands except for a lot of training. Because you see, he said, we've got to give you, and you've got to give you, a chance to fight the fight. So he pointed at my head and said, you've got to start it. He pointed at my heart and said, you've got to lead it. And then he put his hands together and he said, you got to build a prayer team, because I don't know why or how, but it's way out of my hands. Because if I thought your cure had anything to do with just these hands, I couldn't fit my ego through the door. So he luckily gave me another chance to re-examine how I was going to fight for my life. So we've heard a lot about happiness and joy and don't let what happens to you define you. And I would ask, when you leave here in the days ahead, how do you let what happens define you? Who do you let in your life define you? So Dr. George P., he really helped me redefine what I was doing. I learned it was really great to give yourself a second chance, because I picked up the phone and called being an extrovert. Any other extroverts in the room? Oh, okay, I was going to say quiet extroverts. When did that happen? Who let all the introverts in pretending to be extroverts? So being the quiet, shy, introvert, not extrovert that I am, I went through my Rolodex. Yes, I'm that old. I didn't have a computer back then. And I called just merely 190, I think it was 197 close and personal acquaintances and friends. There was a few hundred more that were not close and personal acquaintances and friends. They were just the connections. And so then I started this amazing journey where I went in for what I call the tune-up. Because you can't let the event define you. You have to define the event. So I wasn't going in for life-altering surgery. I was going in for a tune-up, because the old bod wasn't running at the right revolutions, to use the car analogy. And so after the tune-up, I started having medical staff come to me saying, should we know you? No. Are you from the States in sports? No. And eventually I said, why do you keep asking? Because you've got more cards than the whole hospital. Get well soon. So in giving yourself a chance, whether it's a second chance or a third chance or a fourth chance in my case, who do you invite on your team? Because I like to speak to people about being resilient, and part of being resilient is building a team of support, respect, love, dignity, but also a few people now and again that'll look in the ear, literally or intellectually grab you by the ear and say, no, not that way, this way. So who do you invite on your team to tell you the truth as they see it? And to get those 400 plus get well cards in the first 3 weeks, and some of them, well, to this day I get weak in the knees talking about it. My mother's friend, she phoned around from Toronto down to Halifax, and she found a florist in February who had a straw hat, who put a crocus in the hat and sent garden gloves. Because when you get better this summer, you're going to plant the crocus with those gloves. So, who do you allow to give you a push or a poke when you need it? And as I've said to a couple of friends, and I've lost one or two along the way, I actually love you enough to lose you, because I think this is the right way for you. I might be wrong, that's okay, but I love you enough to push you and give you a poke. And if you don't like it, that's okay. But giving each other another chance, giving yourself another chance. I live in a tower. I'm a cliff dweller in Toronto, which is code for an apartment. And when I first moved in, you know, the seniors there had bad eyesight because they said, oh, a young man's moved into the building. Which was good, but you know, I was at the age where glasses were soon to happen and bifocals were going to happen maybe next week when I go for my appointment. But one of the older ladies would sit in the lobby and be very sad and mournful every day. Now, like our smile guru, where is she? Like our smile guru, I like a personal challenge that I can take time to work on. And so for the first 6 months to 2 years, she was a nasty old, pick a word. Veterinarians might use it frequently. I'd say hello and good morning, and she would just frown at me as how dare I be having a nice day, because she was living in hell. But, hey, I'd survived a couple of rounds, 3 rounds of cancer, so what's a little bad attitude? One day I finally said to her, it's a great day outside, why don't you come out and sit on the outside bench? What's so great about it? I said, we're both alive and we're neighbors. And you look radiant in the blue jacket. So, began a new part to our journey of giving each other yet another chance. Because to her, I was just that guy that goes to the swimming pool and teaches cannonballing 101 to the little kids. I'm the guy that went to the pool deck where I used to call the gaggle of gals, which was some of the other senior ladies over 80. And one of them has the courage, and I love her for it. She wears a little tiny two-piece. And you know what? She's 86 now, she's still got it all going on. If I don't have much energy at 86, it'll be an awesome thing. And oh, gravity have moved a little bit. But you know, when you talk to her, she's more alive and more engaged and more respectful and more fun than a lot of my 20, 30, and 40-year-old friends. So, giving yourself another chance, she constantly gives herself another chance. She's recently broken another bone, and she goes, it's been a leg, it's been a hip, then it's a pelvis, now it's another hip. Oh, but hey, I have more time to be outside and sunbathe in the small two-piece. So, to go back to my then new friend in the blue blazer, I eventually got bold and said to her one day, you know, if we were neighbors and this building was on its side and we were all in the little proverbial house with the white picket fences up and down the street, I'd be the guy to go by and say, hey, what type of roses are those? Where'd you get the daisies? I really like the trimmed bushes on the corners of your house. I said, so I don't want to be in the will. I'm just being neighborly. You know, within 6 weeks, I go by her one day and she looks up with me a big grin and she taps her knee and she goes, you know, if you're ever lonely, there's a place for you right here. So, one of the lessons I learned there was just because they're in a mean, ugly place doesn't mean we have to go to the same mean, ugly place. Because the first few months there, I could have called her a miserable old, and use a veterinarian term, but that would have done nothing except been a gentleman of a certain age, and a lady of a certain age picking on each other, and what good is that? But you know, within a year she shared that her husband died at 63, and they'd saved all their money to go on the lifelong 2-year cruise. So another lesson in giving yourself a chance is please live now, and yes, save for your future, but have some fun now, and doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Because I've met several people who saved it all for the future, and I have a couple of very wealthy acquaintances in their late 80s wishing they'd had time with their spouse on the 5-day quickie cruise instead of waiting and never having the cruise. So, giving yourself another chance. I actually got invited to that older lady's funeral a couple years after that, where the son and the daughter and the out-of-town son told me, we heard about you. You were a big breakthrough in the family because, well, we love her, but boy, was she a case. Because I know that you don't have any relatives that are grouchy like I do. But, oh boy, it's tough for some people because they don't give themselves any chance to forgive themselves. So first chances, second chances, third chances, or fourth chances. When will you give yourself that next chance? What will you learn? we heard about what I call mastery and you called betterment. Thank you. Wow, a teleprompter, live and in person. And he's cute too. Not that cute though, sorry, you know. He's written, so he's smart too. Handsome, smart, and a public teleprompter. Where do I put the quarters in? So, fast forward, I had another health issue, and I get rushed to the hospital. And I've learned about forgiveness of self and the medical team. Now, some say I should have sued the doctor because my medical procedure failed and it threatened my life. And you're on a gurney, which is a crash cart, and you're going to work in a hurry. And I've actually heard the ping, code blue, ping, code blue. You know that song, Ask Not for the Bell Tolls, the Bell Tolls for You? Well, it's true, it happened to me. So I get to OR, and I've learned that you can control and accept your feelings because it's up to you to control the experience after you're in safety. So I'm in OR, I've gone through the double doors in a hurry, and at 11:37 at night, you don't get the AAA medical team that does work with all the major medical institutions. You get the student doctors who got woken up out of bed. And by then, though, I'd gone so often to the hospital that I teased them, did they have a frequent stitchers program? You heard of Air Miles? I want frequent stitcher program. 10 points for a clip, 20 points for a stitch, 1,000 points for every hour in OR. By now I qualify for liposuction, facelift, and maybe that tummy tuck. And so I was lying there, and the doctor said, so this is real serious. I said, I know, I could die on the table because like this, not only has it failed, but I'm watching body parts start to push through my abdominal region, so I'm in big trouble. And I said, but let's get one thing clear. You offer a warranty, right? This is a money-back guarantee. And if I have to come back again, there better be a damn well big prize in there, like a watch, something like a Rolex. So the doctor said, well, you're in good spirits. I said, well, there's a choice here. I'm terrorized, but on the other hand, terrorized is kind of boring after a while, so I thought I should have a little fun. And Doc, it's now 12 minutes to, we're ready? I don't want to go down on 199. I've done that 5 times before. Could we do, it's my birthday today for 12 more minutes? I possibly the only person you've ever met, they've sung happy birthday to in OR. And before they did that, I said one last thing. No negative language about me when I'm under. You can say, oh, what a tough old bird. Oh, maybe we should do the tummy tuck next time. Oh, he's been through a lot, but no, he could die. No, he's going to have a tough go later because when you're unconscious, you can't control what's going into past the filters. So I would suggest to you, be cautious of what you allow others to say to you that you believe. Keep the filter up, alive, and well. I call it my invisible Lexon shield. And it served me well, and it's confused a few corporate bullies along the way because I've advocated for some seniors. Between the seniors and some help from some good friends, we have 6 people that don't work for a corporation anymore because they picked on the wrong seniors. So I got to have them sing happy birthday to me in that OR that night, and I got back to live another day and fight another day, and along the way I met really amazing people like Mr. Ford, who's visiting tonight. He's live from Lindsay. You think we're international? We've got people from Eastern Ontario. You know, Buffalo and Rochester are awesome, but how many people come in from Lindsay? Some people in Lindsay don't know that something south of 7 exists. David's international. He goes to Cuba and England and Wales and other places, so he's a happening guy. So let me leave you with this along the way about choosing our feelings about what's going on. I'm now supposedly better, and I'm going for a medical checkup, or I like to tease them, I'm coming in for a tune-up and a checkup under the hood. And I'm running late because I've been on a sales call. The client had the nerve to want to pay me more money to make more business. So you're going to say no? What's a medical appointment about whether you're going to live longer or not compared to making more money to pay the mortgage for next year? So I'm running late. I'm just going to make the appointment maybe, but it's 2 in the afternoon and I'm now hungry. I'm not just hungry. My stomach thinks my neck's been cut because breakfast was at 6:30. There's the Burger King. There's the drive-thru. I got cash. There's no rush. I get the order. Burger in the mouth. It comes through the drive-thru. Fries in the console. Shake between the legs. There's the doctor's office in the second floor of the mall. Burger King's in the island, in the middle of the parking lot. I drive, I don't see the speed bump. I give the chocolate chip squeeze. You know, as a kid I had a paper route. I know what cold is like. I fell into the creek once with my paper route taking a shortcut, one leg up to the hip. I know what cold is like. Oh my gosh, on a hot summer day in a car that doesn't have air conditioning, when you get a milkshake in places you don't want a milkshake, wow. I got to the, first of all, I got out of the car and scraped off what I could to preserve some dignity. I walk in, the elevator just opened, it was right out of the movie, and I'm there with a necktie trying to pretend. It opened, I have 3 people doing, sort of backing up, because they're coming up from the underground parking lot. I'm on the main floor, I want to go to the 3rd. I get in, said, need a milkshake. We had a date, I didn't know I had a date. I walked into the doctor's office, she said, Mr. Ballard, you're just a couple minutes behind, he's expecting you. I walked in, it was a chocolate milkshake, just to clarify. I was going to my gastroenterologist. He sort of looked and said, I'm not sure why you're here, but I know I can help. So, whether you think you can or think you can't, it's up to you. And how we choose to frame or reframe our incidents in life, they can be nasty and ugly and hurt us. But whether it's divorce or financial hardships or health issues, employment, the list is long. But the result is we can still choose to frame and reframe, surround ourselves with people that are respectfully upbeat to make a difference. Because let me leave you with a poem that I really think speaks to the essence of what it takes to be resilient. It goes like this. It's the human touch in this world that counts. It's the touch of your hand and mine. It means far more to a beating heart than shelter, bread, or wine. Because shelter's over when the day is done, and bread lasts but a day. But the sound of your voice and the touch of your hand will last long in the soul always. Thank you, MoMondays.